Absolutely. Yeah, someone disagreed with you. So you remember last week you said that you were talking about Gotham, and you said Superman needs Batman's permission to even show up to Gotham. Some dude online was like, "Oh, Superman doesn't need Batman's permission for anything," or something like that. Like
he does.
He does. Batman. You're right. He controls Gotham.
He does. He absolutely does. He doesn't need Batman's permission to show up. He needs Batman's permission to operate.
Welcome to Only Comics. I am Mike. This is Adrian.
Good morning. Good morning.
And this is where we discuss comics and only comics.
That's right.
Our one rule, right?
Well,
I mean, we're pretty good about it, you know.
Yeah, we staying on topic, but we get a little bleed every once in a while, but that's okay.
Right. It's kind of like we got this like built-in excuse to talk about other things. Like as long as it somehow ties back to comics,
absolutely.
We're good, you know? Like people were asking us, "You guys are going to review the Barbie movie?" I'm like, "I don't know about that." And then they're like, "Well, they have comics." I'm like, "Well, you do have a point,
right?
But
right.
We got other things to talk about this week."
Yep.
So we'll hop right into this, man. We got Secret Invasion, Episode 5. We're going to do our toe dip real quick. This is, guys, where no spoilers. We're just going to kind of gloss over the episode, give you our spoiler-free thoughts, okay? So Episode 5 aired this past week, Adrian. We got one more to go. I'm giving you my score. I'm going to give this episode a 6.
I'm still in the 5 range, 5,
okay.
5.5. Let's just end it, please.
And we were just saying before we went live that I don't dislike the series. I'm not excited about the presentation. Right. What I mean by that is if we're gonna do a 6-episode show, we're gonna split it up in all these pieces.
Right.
Why are we doing 30-minute episodes? 25. Like what? It just seems like we wait a week. We get all this hype. We watch the long credit scene again.
Right.
And you start getting into the episode, and it's over.
And the long credit scene is part of the 30 minutes.
Exactly. Yep. And then the end credit scene is another part of the 30 minutes.
Right.
So, the whole episode is maybe 20 minutes.
Yep.
And so here's my question. Why make this a show? Why not just make it a 2-hour movie?
One word, marketing.
Yeah. I don't understand because it's not even structured like a show.
No.
It's structured like a movie. It's literally like we're watching a movie. It's kind of like watching a movie, I have young kids, right? Yep. It's like watching a movie with a big family and young kids. Every 20 minutes, you got to pause it. Someone's got to go to the bathroom. Someone's got to go to the kitchen. Someone forgot something upstairs. So that's what it's like. It's like we're putting the movie on, Adrian. 20 minutes later, we're pausing it. The only difference is we're pausing this shit for 7 days.
Right. And it's not even like YouTube Shorts.
No.
I would even accept Shorts.
Yeah.
But this is not like YouTube Shorts. It's literally like pause.
Yep.
Pee, come back, unpause, finish up the movie.
Yeah. So, but I give it a 6. I don't hate it. I don't like just getting these little doses. And I just feel like they're leaving a lot riding on this last episode.
Yeah.
And I really hope they deliver. Right. Now, I do think, Adrian, if this last episode's great, I think it could save the series for me. But based off of these slow-moving, kind of not a whole lot going on, short episodes, I don't know if that's going to happen with episode 6.
It's too much to put in one episode. At the last minute, it's like a long relationship that's been performing poorly.
Yeah.
It's like don't show me the money at the end when I'm walking out the door because I'm bored with your dumb ass. Let's have some things along the way that be like, oh, okay, I'm interested. Let's keep going. But no, I think they're gonna try to, like you said, put everything all at the end.
Yeah.
And I think it's too much to put in one show, especially if it's going to be 15 and a half minutes long.
Exactly. Like, here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this last episode is like an hour long.
Kind of unlike a Game of Thrones ending, but a Game of Thrones length type event where they kind of unravel, piece things together. I'd be good for that.
Yeah. I hope it is, man. If it is, I think there's some chance to save it. I'm still going to stick. So last week I made my prediction, Adrian, And, we put it out. And I think, I think there was a handful of folks that agree with me. I predicted that in the last episode. Well, I said in one of the last 2 episodes. Obviously, last week's 15-minute episode didn't have time for this.
Right.
But I'm predicting that Captain Marvel shows up.
It's been so poor to me that I actually hope, and we're gonna review the the Marvel-ous up and coming movie as well, and I'm not feeling Brie Larson anyway, so I just kind of hope that she just don't even show up on the scene. So I'd be cool if she don't show up.
She don't. Maybe since it's the Marvels, we can have another one of them show up. Maybe Monica Rambeau can show up. Maybe Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, somebody. I would take Kamala over Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
I'd like that show a lot better. But I'd also like to see a Monica Rambeau rendition of this thing. Anything other than Brie.
Yeah. So I'm still going with that prediction, and now I think it's more of like a hope. And I'm with you. I'm not a huge fan of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, but at the rate that this show's going, the pace over the past few weeks, it's like, dude, if anyone showed, I mean, who can't? Like, dude, hey, send the new guy playing the Falcon. I don't know, somebody.
Right. Bring in the Silver Surfer. Yeah. It doesn't matter how he comes in.
God. But yeah, this last episode, I mean, it definitely moved the story by a little bit. We got to see some classic Nick Fury. So this ain't really a spoiler. I mean, we see Nick Fury kind of back in his his eye patch, his suit. So that was pretty cool.
Back in the saddle.
Yeah. So I do think the highlight of this show for me so far has been the presentation of Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson's just acting in general. I really like that. And because, I mean, dude, this guy's been playing Nick Fury for, 10, 15 years now.
Right.
And this is his first time of, really having a starring role in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, for Samuel L. Jackson, I know he's always been kind of like that sideline actor in a lot of these movies. Right. So I do like that he got his shine here. And I think he did a great job in Nick Fury.
What I would actually prefer, Mike, is if forget the Captain Marvel intro and just have Fury come out at his best.
Yeah.
I would love to see a wrap up like that where he just comes out with all the tech, all the bags of tricks, all that, the years of experience, all of that stuff. That would kind of wrap it up nicely for me as opposed to, introducing a super.
Yeah, I mean, I to your point, I do think they could go that route because we started to see that a little bit in this episode 5, like just him kind of putting his old gear back on. Right. And he made a comment, I forget who it was. They said something about basically asked him why we don't call some superheroes in.
Right.
And he's kind of like, this is personal. Mm-hmm. And then he mentioned something about hey, my gift is up here.
Right.
Which we have seen throughout this series.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess the biggest aspect of the show that I've enjoyed is the presentation of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
There's been some deaths here and there, which I think, that was, I don't want to say they're cool, but it is cool because a lot of times in these shows, no one ever dies, nothing ever happens, or even in these movies. So, but yeah, I'm going with a 6. So hopefully episode 6 can kind of save the show for me.
Right.
Again, not horrible. I just think it's pretty. I mean, it's kind of like what we said about the Flash a little bit. It's kind of just mid. It ain't as bad as the Flash.
Right.
But it's just it's not as good as some of the other shows.
The only thing that was as bad as the Flash was the George Clooney Batman, in my opinion. But I don't dislike this series.
Yeah.
It's just kind of somber. Mm-hmm. Drawn out, and it's obviously drawn out.
Yeah,
which makes it kind of that's why I give it a 5.5.
Right. Yeah. So that's our toe dip. We'll do our deep dive later, where we will get into some spoilers, some of more in depth about the episode. And now, Adrian.
Yo,
newsflash, buddy.
What's up?
Here we go. We got some. This week's a little fun. We got some trailers because next week we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie coming out.
Yep.
Mutant Mayhem. Mm-hmm. Which are we gonna review that here?
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to see it. I don't know if you are. So
yeah, I'm going to go see it. I got some fond memories of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out. So it'd be nice to see it. And I also kind of like the new artwork too.
Oh, it looks amazing. So you say you're kind of a fan. When did you become a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Were the original movies? Were you ever into the comics?
I actually went out to see it originally because that's when comic movies were just starting to come out. So I was fascinated by anything that they can put on the big screen that represented comics.
Got it.
So that's how I kind of got into it. Not because I really heard about them or I was a fan of them. It was just that I wanted to see anything on the screen that was a representation of the comic book world. So that's how I got into it.
I gotcha. And the original was like, what, 90 maybe, early 89 or something like that. Which I was young. I was born in 85, so I was like 5, 6 years old when this thing came out.
Yeah.
And I loved it, man. It was also like kind of dark.
Yeah.
If you remember, like, I mean, it was a dark movie for being a comic book movie.
I mean, it was kind of like a DC-esque.
Yeah.
You know, everything's in the dark except with a Marvel cinematography because they made the dark not so dim like DC does.
Right.
You know? So it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And the second one I thought was really good. Third one, they got a little off the rails and they went to Japan and all that. They tried to be too fun. It was kind of like the old Batman movies, right? They started off really dark and then it got really campy. Yeah. And then they just killed the series.
Of course.
That's when your boy George Clooney came in.
With the nipples.
Yeah, with the fucking bat nipples. And that was when my boy, Andy Muschietti, man, Clown of the Week, maybe? We come up with a name. Maybe that's it. Because you did say last week another clown steps up. So.
No. Clown of the Week doesn't sound appropriate.
It's too nice.
It's too nice. We got to get some equivalent of donkey. Like, you are literally an ass. For whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
For your nomination. Clown is too
nice.
Yeah, it's definitely too nice.
So, hey, if y'all are watching, we're open to suggestions. We need something because every week it's somebody, Adrian, that pisses me off. You know, it's like every week. It's like it's a personal attack on me and I get upset. But anyways, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Mutant Mayhem comes out August 2nd. To your point, man, the art style, it looks great.
Yeah.
And I will say, I bet this is influenced somewhat by the Snyderverse movies, right?
I knew where you were going. I knew it. And I saw that. I'm like, yeah, everybody. Yeah. And not only is the Snyderverse cinematography and artwork influencing other artwork, but it's also influencing this whole meta universe kind of thing. You'll see that theme even in movies that have nothing to do with comics.
Right.
You'll hear this multiverse, universe, the universe of, and the blah, 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 blah. So I think it's very interesting.
Right. Well, that's Hollywood for you, right? It's like one thing gets popular and it's everywhere.
Right.
I mean, we saw it like, you know, what was it, maybe 10 years ago with the zombie shit?
Yep.
It's like everybody wanted zombies in their movies.
Right.
And now we're seeing it with the multiverse. I mean, there's movies that, like you said, have nothing to do with comics that have alternate universes.
Right, right. You know what's coming up next, though, right?
What?
UFOs, dude.
Oh.
When Disney put UFO documentaries online, we're gonna see some stuff here in like the next 10 or 20 years. They got to figure out a way to kind of slide all these lies in. But anyway, not comics. So here we go.
Right. Well, you heard it first on Only Comics. Adrian predicted that the next wave of movies is going to be UFOs and aliens.
No, not movies. The next wave is going to be over our cities, dude.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're pitching they're coming here. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Or at the very least, they're going to be more transparent
with
what they've been hiding for 70 years. That's all.
Got it. All right. Well, that's your prediction. But, yeah, this movie, man, I'm excited about it. Interesting. I don't believe that Shredder's in this movie. They're going with some additional villain like Bebop, Rocksteady, those guys.
Right.
Which is cool because, I mean, Shredder is awesome, right? Yep. He's like that. I mean, it's like Batman Joker, right? It's Shredder's the villain. But I'm okay with them building up to it because these other villains we've never really seen on screen. I think in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, we saw Bebop and Rocksteady a little bit. But the main focus was the Foot Soldiers and Shredder.
Right.
So hopefully this movie does well and we get a few of them and we build to that. So I'm okay with the additional, with the kind of sideline characters. What's
interesting, I think, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that movie kind of like cast, captured the minds of young people back in that day. And I hope that that's what they're trying to do now.
Yeah.
Because the comic book world and the ability to imagine and to think outside the box is really important to kids. And I hope they can like recapture the youth's mind today as opposed to all these video games and stuff.
Yeah.
So I hope that's where they're going with this. But if not, I hope it at least is entertaining. You know?
Right. Well, I mean, hey, it's working with me because my daughter who's 11 really knows nothing about Ninja Turtles because they've not been popular for a while, right? But she's seen this trailer a few times and she's like dying to go see it. So hey, maybe they are tapping into that. But I agree that is definitely the feeling I used to get as a kid from these Ninja Turtle movies. So I like the soundtrack's going to be, I guess, mostly kind of like 90s hip hop. So I love that. and I think it fits the art style. The art style almost, it's not a copy of Spider-Verse. I feel like it's inspired by, but it's almost more like graffiti-ish.
Right,
like,
I was going to say that too. Kind
of
New
gritty.
York.
Yeah, it feels like New York.
Yep, exactly.
So exactly. I'm looking forward to this. We will review this next week because it comes out on the 2nd. Other news, you mentioned the Marvels earlier when we were doing our toe dip. This movie comes out in November, so a few months away. They just dropped a brand new trailer. So they had the San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, right? Are you a Comic-Con guy? You ever been to any?
I have not. I'm curious about them. I would be interested to just drop into one. Yeah. But my schedule, I'm just busy, so whenever I hear about it, it's already passed. I feel like a little, I'm disappointed. Like a Sam Jackson moment, and then I move on. But I would love to go see one. But I'm not going to say I'm not a fan, but I just haven't.
You've never
been to one.
Gotcha. So I've never been to this big one. Like this is something I want to do. I want to go to San Diego one year. Yeah. So you're in luck, Adrian. Next week, they're in Connecticut. They do what's called Terrificon. It's the biggest Comic-Con in this area. It's held at the casino, Mohegan Sun. Oh yeah, and it starts next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's a massive event. All kinds of vendors. There's cosplay. There's there's actors, comic book writers that are there. So next week, you're in luck. So if you're not too busy, man, swing over. I'll be there. I'm going to cosplay, Adrian. Me and the kids, yep. We're going as – actually, I shouldn't tell you. Take a guess. What do you think I would dress up? Let's see how well Adrian knows me.
It's either going to be like Batman or it's going to be like Star Wars kind of –
Nope. We are going as Spider-Man. So I'm going as the classic – my big ass is going to get in a red and blue Spider-Man suit. And my daughter's gonna be Gwen Stacy. My son's gonna be Miles. So we got the whole crew.
Well, you better get some Apple tags or something and put in your pockets because I got a feeling you're gonna be surrounded by people in costumes. So
absolutely. So anyways, that's next week. So on top of the reviews, I'll come back with some feedback about the Comic-Con, maybe some merch or some cool art we'll display here. But the Marvels. So they debuted this new trailer at the San Diego Comic-Con. So that's like the big one. That is the Comic-Con, right? New trailer. We mentioned earlier, I'm not a huge Brie Larson fan. Right. So I'm actually glad that they are adding Maria Rambeau, or I keep getting mixed up, Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan in this movie because if it was all Brie Larson, it'd be very hard for me to sit through.
I agree.
Because the first Captain Marvel was not my favorite movie. It was okay. Yeah. It was just but this trailer, I mean, so far I like what we've seen in the trailer. I like seeing a lot of it's in space. These two, it's like a body swap type movie, so it should be funny, right? Which sometimes we kind of pick on them for the comic relief. Right. But, to your point of Secret Invasion really being kind of slow and almost brooding, I'm not opposed to having some humor as long as it's done well.
Yeah, something needs to happen. I saw, at your suggestion, I saw Ms. Marvel. Yeah. On Disney. And really, the only reason that I'm going to see this is the Kamala character. Okay. I mean, I absolutely love the flavor of Ms. Marvel, the culture. They did a very good job of showing off that culture. And so, really, I'm just going to see her in this. And then second tier is, Monica Rambeau. I think they kind of like pussyfooting around with the Monica Rambeau character. Yeah. They could do a lot more with that, almost immediately instead of, kind of like filtering her in. But, I'm definitely not going to see the Brie Larson Captain Marvel part of it.
No. But yeah, I like the Monica Rambeau character, what they've done so far. I mean, we saw her in WandaVision where she got her powers, going in and out of the void or whatnot. Right. And it seems, I mean, she's a pretty powerful character. I mean, that's the kind of thing about Captain Marvel. She's like one of the most powerful Avengers, right? Correct. And it seems like Monica is up there too. So that would be cool to see.
Right, right.
So that comes out in November. But again, new trailer just dropped. Looks pretty interesting. They also, did you see the Blue Beetle? They dropped the new trailer for that.
I'm really interested in seeing the Blue Beetle. I mean, I'm not a fan of him.
I never knew who he was.
Never even knew who he was. I mean, I saw him coming out in I don't know what it was, some show on Teen Titans or something like that.
Yeah.
That level of anime on the TV, but seems like that's how I got introduced to him. But I'm really the cinematography on this movie looks really good, especially that bus split scene.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was definitely cool.
Which is probably why they put it in, but
yeah. I know, I love that, right? They spoil all the best stuff in the trailers. But hey, maybe this will be DC's kind of, they're turning the corner. I mean, we the DC fanboys got pretty upset with us last week because we criticized the decision to add Green Lantern into Superman, and a lot of them didn't like that, right? A lot of people think that we're anti-DC. That's not true.
Nope.
You're not anti-DC.
No, we're just trying to make you better, DC.
Absolutely.
We have a right. We're spending our money. We have a right to our comments and stuff. And in this other group, if they want to be upset with that, they have a right to their opinion as well.
Yep. Have at it. But we are not anti-DC.
Nah.
Matter of fact, Batman's my favorite character. He's
right.
DC. So, but you like you said, when we see something we don't like, we're going to point it out.
Right.
So hopefully this Blue Beetle could be the turning point for these DC movies because it does seem pretty good.
Yeah.
It does seem. I mean, George Lopez is in. I love George Lopez.
Right.
He plays the dad. He's got like this freaking weird mullet and his long beard.
Right.
They did a good job with the fake beard though. They didn't do the shitty job. So that is one win DC y'all have because still Samuel L. Jackson with the fake fucking goatee now. Like, what? Why?
Dude, get over that goatee.
God. It looks like, like the shit that's inside a stuffed animal?
Oh, my God.
It looks like they took that and just glued it to his face.
Wow.
And he has a real goatee because we've seen it in all the other movies. So I don't know why they felt like, oh, you know what? Here's what we needed. Here's how we can change Nick Fury. Take that shit out of that pillow over there and glue it on his face.
I think they're trying to age him a little bit.
More than he.
But if you don't look at the goatee, he looks like he did 15 years ago.
He does.
So it's like, just get away from the aging thing, put out his original hair and just call it a day so Mike can stop.
Exactly. God. Or just dye it. Hey, like people ask you if you dyed it.
Right.
Maybe they could just dye his beard. I don't know. All right. So here we go. DC. Speaking of DC. Here's what they're going to do, Adrian. So we talk a lot about Batman here on Only Comics. Last week we ranked our Batman. In October we're going to do something fun. We're going to review The Long Halloween. We've not done really any comics on here or actual comic books. We've pretty much all been movies and shows just based off of what's been released. But Batman news. Now you would think that being such big Batman fans that we would be excited about multiple Batman movies dropping. But here's my issue. So the Flash director, Andy Muschietti, my man. Jackass of the week here. Only reason we're not saying that is because we know how, YouTube and all these, if we swear too much, then it's not, y'all won't be able to see it. They're going to hide it. But he is the Jackass of the week again. Andy Muschietti's like the fucking reigning champ, dude. I mean, how many times he's been winning this? We had to create this award for him.
Right.
So Andy Muschietti is directing Batman, The Brave and the Bold. So before I even get into my issue, this movie sounds like an awesome idea.
Yep.
Bat family's already going to be established. Damian's going to be Robin. We're going to see Nightwing in it. We're going to see Batgirl. Like, Batman's going to be a little bit older. We've never seen this level of, Bat family in anywhere but comics or animated movies.
Right.
So that's cool. The one time we got to see anything close to this was when your boy George Clooney was out there with, Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl and that whole mess.
Right.
So Batman Brave and the Bold sounds like a great idea, great movie, right? Now, here's the issue, though. We have The Batman, which started last year. Yep. Robert Pattinson, who y'all learned last week was my favorite Batman. So that's dropped. We have we've learned that they've confirmed there's going to be a trilogy. So Matt Reeves, who directed this, in my opinion, phenomenal movie. He's got the green light to do a trilogy. There was a teaser. I don't know if you saw this recently for The Penguin. It's a show on Max that's going to tie right into the Batman. So Colin Farrell's Penguin has his own show coming out.
Colin Farrell?
Yep.
The Irish dude?
Yeah, he's the one who played Penguin in the Batman.
Okay.
You can't even recognize him, right? No. So he's got the show coming out, and it's going to take place right after the end of the first Batman movie when Gotham's still flooded and all that deal, right? Falcone's dead. So All great news until you realize this is where they make a dumbass decision, in my opinion. Okay, so we got the Batman 1 came out in 2022, and I don't know the years that these are coming out, but the Batman 2 is the next Batman movie that we're going to see, right? Mm-hmm. So naturally, you would expect that the Batman 3 would be the next one after that, right? Would that make sense?
It would make sense.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So here's what they're gonna do, and James Gunn, who last week was our Jackass of the Week.
Right.
I think they're tied this week, him and Andy Muschietti, because he's in charge of DC, so it's his decision. The Batman Brave and the Bold, or The Brave and the Bold, is coming out in between Batman Part 2 and Part 3.
Wow.
I mean, why?
Different directors too, right?
Different director. Yeah, my man Andy Muschietti, bro. He's directing this one. I mean, isn't that going to be confusing? And isn't that going to kind of dilute how important like these Batman movies should be?
I expect to hear a comment like Disney, our last dude, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
we're not calling this Jackass of the Week, but we're using this a lot.
Yeah.
But I expect to hear a comment like, "There's too much content out, and we need to do budget cuts." Mm-hmm. However, I'm okay with the multiple Batmans because Batman is multifaceted.
Yep.
There is a version of him. Did you see the Ninja Batman anime? Okay. So there's a genre and an era and a type of Batman for everybody. So I'm cool with it, but I do agree to stick them in the middle.
Yeah.
Of two different types of Batmans would be, a little confusing, especially if you're trying to reintroduce this character to the universe.
Right. Like imagine in between Iron Man 2 and 3, we got to see there was rumors of Tom Cruise. We always talk about Tom Cruise
here. God.
You remember the rumors that he was gonna play like a rebooted Iron Man? I don't know if you remember that like a year ago. So that was an actual rumor.
I'm glad.
Right. And then they even every time they do a multiverse movie, there's always rumors about Tom Cruise's Iron Man showing up. Like I think in Multiverse of Madness there was a big rumor that he was going to show up there, right? So that was so. Could you imagine between Iron Man 2 and 3, there's just like this sideline movie of an older Iron Man and Tom Cruise is playing him?
No, that would be horrible to me. I mean, I couldn't mentally process that. Tom Cruise playing an Iron Man is like Nick Cage playing a Superman. I love these guys in their movie styles, but crossing over into the comic book world as superheroes is not their thing. It's just not. It would just be a sad moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what's happening. They're going to squeeze in another Batman movie in between two others. So, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I guess on the other side, as a Batman fan, be thankful that we're getting more Batman content.
Right.
I wouldn't mind them waiting to the next year, maybe.
Right. Something.
But anyway, so last piece of news here. So I went to see the Barbie movie yesterday.
Okay.
Adrian. Yeah, with my girls and my wife, and it was not what I was expecting. It was a lot better than it was funny. The storyline kind of reminded me of like Elf a little bit, right?
Okay.
And you're like, why are you talking about this on Only Comics? Because there was a Zack Snyder joke in this movie, right? So there is a scene where the Barbies are kind of like brainwashed or whatnot, and I'm not going to spoil a whole bunch, but one of the Barbies wakes up, and her exact line was, let's see if I can find it real quick. She says that, no, can't find it. So anyways, what she says something along the lines of, so here the Barbie was brainwashed and they were like serving the Kens, right?
Yeah.
So they all were like basically maids and servants, and then they wake him up, and one of the Barbies goes, "Wow, I feel like I was in a dream where I was so invested in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League."
Right,
It was a bad thing.
Right.
And the funny thing behind why I bring this up is WB is the same company behind both movies.
Right.
So they're kind of poking fun at themselves or Zack Snyder. Because, I mean, if you remember when this Zack Snyder cut was released, it really was the fans that kind of forced WB's hand because I mean, they started this big campaign online, which then, and the Justice League movie did so bad that they kind of greenlit, Zack Snyder to go ahead and do his deal, and then James Gunn comes in and kills the whole thing.
Right.
So there's this divide between DC fanboys too. Zack Snyder versus James Gunn, but whatever. So I thought that was funny, a little meta humor.
And I like that. I mean, they because they're the same properties. I think that's cool,
Yep.
and it's also good marketing for their movies.
Right.
Kind of tossing the name around, like, oh, what does that mean? And blah blah. People start digging. I mean, it's a line in the movie, and you got whole articles on it. So obviously, the marketing is working.
Oh yeah, and I hear this Barbie movie's like killing it.
Yeah,
the movie theater was crazy yesterday. Everywhere you went, there was just like, I mean, middle-aged women in pink and Barbie stuff, kids. Like, dude, they came out for this movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
They're
I
saying,
wouldn't have expected that.
No, me neither. And they're saying that so far, this movie that for the first weekend did better than Spider-Man Across the Snyderverse. And I guess the biggest movie of 2023 so far, first week numbers, was the Super Mario movie.
Yep.
And they're saying this may even top that.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, here we go. That is our news flash segment.
Okay.
Here now we're gonna do our deep dive into episode 5 of Secret Invasion, titled Harvest, which that name really comes into play throughout this episode. So that is something that I did like about this episode, and interested to see where that's gonna go. So as always, this is where the spoilers begin. Deep dive means we're jumping in this bitch. We're gonna go through our thoughts. Now, I said 6 earlier. You said 5, Adrian.
5.5.
5.5. So, kind of a okay episode. Again, the length of it is what one of the really biggest critiques for me. It just seems like we're waiting a week for like nothing. Right. I'd have rather them just do a damn 4-episode show and give us 4 hours or something.
Just do a 3-hour movie and just cut to the chase. That would have done it for me.
Hey, do chapters if you want,
Right.
So, hey, do a little pause point if someone can't sit through it.
Right.
Speaking of Zack Snyder's Justice League, they did that there. I mean, that movie is what, 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours? I don't know. It's a long-ass movie, but there's chapters in it.
Right.
So I watched it over a couple of days. I mean, there's no way I'm sitting here watching, 6 hours of this dark, brooding movie. But, I mean, I enjoyed this Snyder Cut. But anyway, so last week on the show, Gravik and his crew tried to kill the president.
Yep.
They failed, right? So we kind of pick up right after that. And, some of these Skrulls are starting to lose faith in Gravik.
Yep.
Right. They kind of group up and they criticize him. They mention, him not being able to kill Fury. And they even start to question, like, why haven't you killed Fury?
Right.
Like he did have his chance.
Multiple times.
Right. So it's like, now is Gravik not killing him because he has some soft spot for him? Or is it really Gravik wanting Fury to kind of suffer, so he keeps kind of picking off people that are close to him?
Well, it makes the movie longer than what it actually is,
right.
Number one. But I think that's his version of making him suffer because he didn't fulfill his promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then these guys, some new recruit named Beto, they basically try to start like a little coup or a mutiny against Gravik.
Right.
They attack him. And this is where we get to see, I mean, Gravik's a badass, dude.
Right.
Funny thing is, the Gravik, the actor who plays him, I forget his name, something Kingsley. He's in the Barbie movie too. He plays a version of Ken, which is funny.
Oh wow!
But anyway, so he kind of kills all these other Skrulls.
Chipmunk Dre.
Yeah, Chipmunk Dre. But I mean, Chipmunk Drake over here kills all these other Skrulls, and so he don't give a shit. It's funny, in the earlier in the series, we saw Talos kind of struggling with killing Skrulls or not. Gravik don't care.
Right.
He wipes them out. We see more of the president. Fury is at the hospital.
Right.
And then Rhodes comes and they pretty much clear him out.
Right. Well, clearly the president didn't hear anything that Fury was whispering in his ear when they were carting him into the hospital about don't trust Rhodes. So
absolutely.
Yep. Or did he? And he's just playing along.
Maybe.
We'll
possibly. And then we learn that the footage of Nick Fury killing Maria Hill gets leaked.
Right.
It's all over the news. So now Fury's like a wanted man or whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's looking out for him. He meets with Gaia, and we learn about this harvest.
Right.
We learn that Gravik is looking for the harvest. At this point, we have no idea what the harvest is.
Mm-hmm. Clearly Fury does.
Yep, Fury does. And then we learn later that it's a collection of basically the Avengers' blood.
Right.
And Gravik, we've learned that he is he is a Super Skrull,
mm-hmm.
and he has this machine to turn all these other Skrulls into Super Skrulls. But so far, what we've seen is he's got Groot's DNA, and he's got the Extremis power.
Right.
That's pretty much all we've seen for Gravik so far, right?
Right. There were like three people, three DNAs that they had,
On
but
the
so
screen,
far
right?
we've
Yeah.
only seen the two. Well, Extremis isn't a DNA. Extremis is like I think like micro robots or something.
Yeah.
It's like a AI type of micro robot. It's not a
It's almost
DNA
like a virus.
It's not a person per se.
Right.
Well, it didn't start out that way, I don't think.
Yeah.
But Extremis is something else other than, but it is still it is incorporated into Gravit's power now.
Yeah. And it makes them pretty much indestructible.
Right.
I mean, even that was from Iron Man 3 with Adrian, whatever freak his name was. The villain, the guy who had the Extremis.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forget.
yeah.
The dude who
That dude.
who, what's his name, left on the roof on New Year's Eve, which I really like Iron Man 3. I know a lot of times that movie gets shit on from people, but I really enjoyed Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. There were some other, like there was the guy Obsidian, I forget his full name, but he was one of Thanos's minions.
Mm-hmm.
Remember his hand got cut off in the portal?
Yep.
So they had his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another piece of DNA. But you're right. The only two, I guess, powers we've seen so far with Gravik has been Extremis and Groot's power.
Right.
So, but Gravik's trying to get this Avengers blood because I mean, think about that. If you were to take the DNA from the original Avengers, they said it was the blood that was spilled in the battle during Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably got Thor in there, we got Cap in there,
Right.
Iron Man, right? I mean, who knows? Shit, dude, they could have freaking Spider-Man. They could have anyone because everyone was there.
Well, I mean, with that mentality, they can just follow around any superhero and eventually get their DNA. But that's all. But this is also like they did this in on the DC side. This organization led by the big chick that they're gonna make a show out of.
Viola Davis's character,
yeah.
Waller, man.
Waller.
Yeah.
So she got Batman's DNA.
Okay.
So this is kind of like the same thing that they're doing. Just of course they gotta expand it, make it everybody, not just Batman.
And so take a step back though. Why does Fury have their blood in this Harvest capsule? What was Fury planning to do with it?
I don't know, but why is everybody's DNA in one capsule?
Yeah,
that sounds just nasty, dude.
Right? Yeah, it does. But it also, thinking about Fury as a character throughout the MCU, he's always been.
I know where you're going.
He's always been kind of like playing both sides. He's always been, always up to something else, right? He always kind of had an ulterior motive. And a lot of times that's what's caused friction between him and the Avengers, between him and S.H.I.E.L.D., he's always kind of, he's a spy, right? He's always playing both sides.
Right. Well, it's almost like he's maintaining his job.
Yeah.
It's like he causes trouble so that he can then go fix the problem.
Right.
So it's like, and it gets him in trouble, like you said, with everybody, world governments, everything.
Dude, he could work for the DOT because, they tear up the roads with the plows.
Right.
Just so they can replace them next year.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it's like job security, right?
Yep.
Drop the plow as hard as you can on the ground and tear up the speed bumps, make potholes, all kinds of shit. Right. So y'all can have job security, and then in the summer you can repave the roads every 2 years.
There you go.
So Nick Fury could run the DOT when he's done with the show. But yeah, I don't know why he's collecting his DNA. So that's a little sus for me there.
Right.
But I guess that's Nick Fury, right?
Yep.
But we learned Gravik wants this. Is also, Rhodes is trying to spin up this war, right? So he shows the president pictures of this Russian base, new Skrulls as they're calling it,
right?
And Gravik is now calling an attack on the Skrulls,
right?
Like they want. This is how crazy this dude is. Now, he's allegedly fighting for a planet for his people, but he's willing to sacrifice other Skrulls to spin up this world war.
Right.
Like, he wants the U.S. to attack this Russian base, even though it's his base and the Skrulls are there.
Well, not only Skrulls, but there's also people there, too.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, Rhodes is also questioning Gravik.
Yes.
Like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
You're trying to create a planet for supposedly for all of us, but you're going to destroy us in order to get it, which ultimately means that he's actually doing this for himself.
Yeah, Absolutely. And then Gaia basically, you know, she's talking to Fury at some point, and she wants to bury her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he sends her to Priscilla's house,
Right.
to talk to her.
Yep.
And then they get attacked.
Right.
It was a pretty cool action scene there.
Yep. Girl power. It was
Yep.
cool. It was cool.
Yep.
But my first question was, how did she get Talos's body? I mean, this dude is dead, surrounded by military people. Obviously, the news people are there because they're splashing it all over TV.
Yep.
I mean, how did she just his body just materialized somewhere? I didn't get
Yeah.
that was like not transparent to me.
Right. So you mean to tell me that they had this big scene where the president almost gets killed.
Right.
And there's several other people that were shot and killed, Talos being one of them.
Right.
Skrull body. So they cleaned up the crime scene and everything and just left him there?
Exactly.
Or did
the biggest event in the universe? Hey, you know, real aliens are among us,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna leave his body on the side of the street like a
Right.
dead squirrel.
maybe they dropped it off to Gaia. You know, they're just being nice. They just on their way, you know, hey, let's just drop off this dead Skrull to his daughter. Why not?
To somebody who everybody thinks is supposedly dead.
Absolutely. That makes total sense.
Yep.
But yeah, so girl power scene that Gaia and Priscilla kind of make it out, right? They do have a funeral for Talos.
That scene actually is the only scene that kind of woke me up. That kind of gave me like a heartbeat kind of a thing in this movie, because other than that, it was just somber. You know, Nick mad at everybody, blah blah blah. So,
I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Dude, you know who my favorite character on the show so far is? Sonia."
Oh yeah.
Dude, she is a freaking savage.
Yeah, she is.
We got to see that in this episode.
Yep.
And then, you know, she links back up with Fury.
Yep.
Now, we still don't really know their relationship, though.
I think it's just spies, you know, respect for each other as spies, you know, because she's now, remember she said she's now the head of blah, 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 which means that she was at his level at some point. So I think it's just mutual respect as spies.
Yeah. I would be okay with seeing more of her moving forward.
Yeah, she is probably she looks like the Amanda Waller kind of character, just this badass, don't care about anything, can you know, switch personalities on the spot in order to get whatever it is that she needs to get.
I would actually prefer her character over the what's her name, Allegra de Fontaine or Constantine, the chick from with the purple hair from Black Panther who's putting together the Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah. Her name will come up at some point, but I know you're talking about. Yeah,
something Fontaine, but because they're similar characters.
Why is it they're putting? I mean, it's like they're putting these women in these ultra high but secret kind of covert positions and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's cool, but I mean, if you're gonna do the thing, do the damn thing. You know, make them like give them the reins to pull out this character, because Amanda Waller, this other girl, I mean, they got it. Yeah, they got it. Let him go.
Absolutely. Which they kind of did with Sonya in this.
Right.
We've seen her. I mean, dude, she'll kill someone in a minute. She's not afraid of anyone, and she's funny about it too.
Right. And she tells you she's basically psychotic.
Yeah.
So just kind of like, you know, you can get what you want, or I'll get what I want. But either way, this is going to happen.
Absolutely. So we see Fury and Sonya end up in Finland, and they show, you know, his grave, right? Because everyone thinks that Nick Fury's dead.
Right. Well, they don't anymore.
Not anymore. Now, why is his grave in Finland, though?
Well, like you said, I got these all over the place.
Yeah.
So there's a Nick Fury grave probably strategically everywhere. And it's because he's, you know, that's his cash.
Got it.
You know, so he's got little stuff, little tech, little money, little resources stashed away, which, I mean, we all should.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we all should have a vial of the Avengers blood stashed away somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's what he has here in this gravesite. He's got the harvest.
Yep.
And this is the scene where he takes the eye patch out. Like, I love how, like, he's got the eye patch and the coat in there, just like in this little, you know, this other little grave chest or whatnot.
Right.
So he throws this on. He's kind of back to OG Nick Fury, which I've been waiting for this series ever since I saw the fake beard in the beginning. I was just waiting for that.
However, I mean, they could have saved us 3 minutes just by, you know, you don't need a 4x4 foot compartment, right, for a gun and a clip, and then another one for a patch, and then another one for the coat. You know, just Put all that shit in one spot.
Yep.
Open up one door, and then come on. Let's move on with the content and not all the theatrics.
Right. So this is where he gets the harvest, which again is that DNA. Now this is a little bit of a cliffhanger with this episode. Nick Fury makes a call.
Yep.
Or someone calls him. I don't remember exactly, but he gets on the phone, and he says that basically it's time to end this.
Right.
Who's he talking to?
Well, we know we know he's not talking to Rhodes, so
right.
Just have to wait and see.
I know.
Unless you have a prediction.
I got two.
Mm-hmm.
One is kind of the I guess not the obvious answer, but most straightforward. He's talking to Gravik. Because one thing we haven't mentioned is Gravik wants his harvest,
right.
and Nick Fury basically said he's going to give it to him.
Right.
Which he's Nick Fury. He ain't just going to hand it over to him.
Right.
Right. He's got something up his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So did he just call Gravik to go, hey, dude, let's end this. I'm going to give it to you. Or did he make the call to what I predicted last week, Adrian, Captain Marvel?
Yep.
Or someone else?
Who knows? It's going to be interesting. I'm going to stick around only because I've suffered through the first 5.
Yeah, I mean, at this point.
I just I either end it or end it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I am with this. But I want to step back. Gaia, she said at some point when she met with Nick, I guess she broke into some place, or they went back to this place that they started out with, their little clubhouse or whatever, where all this stuff started. And in the end, she said, well, he's like, take care of yourself, blah, 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 blah. She said, don't worry, I'm going to put on a good face. Now, I have a prediction. I believe either she is going to show up as Maria Hill to get Nick off, or because she is also a Super Skrull, she's going to take the L for Nick and then let the world think that he's dead some kind of way, and then Nick will go off in his way, and then she'll resurrect herself. So that's my prediction. One of those two things I think is going to happen. Gotcha. She'll imitate Maria Hill to get Nick off, or Nick is going to probably try to kind of get killed somewhere, but it's actually going to be her, and then Nick will go his way, she'll resurrect, and that'll be that.
Now that you say that, I do think that something with Gaia is going to, Gaia's going to play a big part in this next episode.
Right.
So he could have been talking to her on the phone.
Could be.
And she's a Super Skrull.
Right.
Now, I would assume next episode they're going to defeat Gravik, right? I mean, that's what happens in superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean that now we know Gaia has the Extremis power as well.
Mm-hmm.
So is she going to be the one? Because Fury ain't going to defeat Gravik hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
It's not going to happen. I mean, Gravik's way too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Is Gaia going to be the one to take him out?
Well, Gravik kind of understands his powers. Gaia just realized that, she had some power.
Yeah.
She just went through the motions of acquiring it, not really knowing what it was that she acquired.
Right.
So I kind of think that she's like, it would almost be like, when the Black Panther sister took over the Black Panther role, and all of a sudden she she defeats Namor, who was a 120-year-old mutant, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
She'll probably come out with this. All of a sudden she can use all the powers.
Right.
And then, help Fury save the Earth. So, I mean, I would even accept that over a Captain Marvel visit. Just don't bring Captain Marvel into this at all. Let this it's been about the locals.
Yeah.
It's like they say, buy local. It's been about the locals so far. Let's leave it with that, and I hope that's where they're going.
Right.
With it.
And it would be good for that character because, you had mentioned this a few times. They casted Emilia Clarke, right?
Right.
In this role. And you would think that it would be a very big role because
Right.
she's a big name actress, right? If not, why not just cast someone who is a little cheaper, right?
Exactly. I mean, bring some little kid. I mean, she looks like a child the way they, the costume that she's been. Well, not the costume, just like baggy clothes.
Yeah.
And she just looks so. Her role in this looks like how she is dressed, like demuted, almost invisible. So I hope they do something major with her at the end.
Yeah. So we got high hopes for this 6th episode. I got a few things that I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get to see more of Sonia.
Yep.
I hope she plays a role in this, right?
Yep.
I hope Nick Fury continues this kind of redemption arc. I hope we get to see, Nick Fury, badass Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Gaia gets her shine.
Yep.
And I hope they kick fucking Gravik's ass.
Right.
He's got it coming, dude.
Well, we know at the very least, Fury survives because he's got to come out in the next movie.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the Maria Hill, or even if they find out that Maria Hill actually isn't dead, because I actually liked her character over the movies. The other thing I'd like to see is Sonia, not like her own movie, but I would like to see her show up in things like Nick Fury has showed up in things. I think that'd be awesome, dude.
Yeah, I hope we see more of her moving forward. I wouldn't mind seeing more of Gaia moving forward either if they give her this shine in this next episode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was episode 5. That was The Harvest. Do you think Gravik gets the Harvest?
I think he probably does. What I've seen, how they portray these things in previous movies, not even comic movies, is that the supervillain gets the ultimate goal. Yeah. And then it just blows up in their face some kind of way. Yeah. It's more power than they can handle.
Right.
Or, they become mad and end up drooling in a straitjacket in a corner in Arkham somewhere. Yeah. Something happens. So I think he'll probably get it. But for some reason, it's also going to be part of his defeat.
Mm. And do you think that this is the next episode, will that be the last time we see Gravik?
I don't really care. I mean, this character is so underwhelming to me that I could never see him again. So I don't really have a thought about it or a prediction about it.
Yeah.
I just want this to end, however it ends.
Got it. Let's just hope it doesn't end like She-Hulk. Let's just hope that. Now, I don't hate the She-Hulk series, but I thought when I saw the length of the last episode, I'm like, what the hell? And then when it ended, I was just like, oh, it's just a big joke. Now, that is how She-Hulk behaves in the comics as well, so I wasn't that surprised. But let's just hope that's not what happens here. Let's hope we get an actual ending.
I was disappointed with the She-Hulk, I guess because I didn't do my research. I didn't know that that's how she acted in the comics. I mean, I saw her as Bruce's cousin, but I didn't really follow. So when I saw this comedy routine in the She-Hulk series, I was like, oh, this is dumb. I mean, it was cool. I mean, I think the best movie of the She-Hulk thing was when Daredevil was in it.
Oh yeah, the last
that was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was cool. So that's our deep dive on The Harvest. Speaking of She-Hulk, dude. So of these Disney shows, the Marvel shows, do you have a favorite so far of all the ones? I mean, we've seen the Captain America show, WandaVision, Loki, Ms. Marvel. Do you have a favorite or a couple favorites? I mean, because not all of them have been great. Some of them have.
I like the Hell's Kitchen groups.
Yeah. The
Daredevil
shows.
The other chick, Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Luke Cage. Not so much the Iron Fist one. Not so much the Defender one.
Yeah.
But I would, definitely the first 3. I also liked Ms. Marvel. I was actually pleasantly surprised with that one.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Outside of that, not really.
No, gotcha. Mine would be, I would say, Loki, WandaVision. Those two are probably my favorites so far. The Captain America one, the Winter Soldier, it was okay.
Right.
I feel like it got better towards the end.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it dragged a little bit, Honestly, a lot of the backstory of Sam with the boat and the sister, I didn't really care for that.
Right.
It was boring.
Right.
But I like a lot of the other stuff in that show, like just the politics stuff, even the racial stuff. Like, I think that was represented really well.
Right.
And then seeing him become Cap, but it was, I have no desire to go watch it again.
Yeah. If you had to pick one, what would be the top? What would be your number one out of the ones that you do like?
I would probably say WandaVision.
surprisingly, I would go with something that I never even thought I would watch, and that's Miss Marvel.
Really?
Yeah. I was really impressed with that one.
Yeah, I would say WandaVision. I love the Wanda character, and we got to see, Scarlet Witch in this. We got to see Agatha. I feel like Vision really got his shine with the two Visions, so I really enjoyed that, and it was so different. You didn't know what the hell was going on for the first few episodes.
Right.
That was done pretty well. Worst show.
Worst show. I would go with She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And She-Hulk, definitely.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I don't think there's another show that is worse than that on there. No, I would probably agree She-Hulk. Yeah. And I didn't hate She-Hulk, but it was okay.
Yeah, it's not a hate thing. It's just that if we have to rank these things, that would be the bottom, right?
Yep. So up next, next week, we got last episode of Secret Invasion. Yep. We're going to review, it'll be a long show now. We have review Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles next week. That movie's coming out. And then I'll have some feedback about this Terrificon.
Yep.
Maybe we'll share some cosplay photos. So we'll see how.
We'll see.
What I'm hoping, though, is this suit fits, dude. You order stuff on Amazon. I went with a 3X because I know, like, I'm on camera. It's hard to tell, but I'm 6'1", 260.
Right.
So it'll be the biggest damn Spider-Man you've ever seen.
Right. You're going to be like the Red Guardian in
Black Widow.
Black Widow trying to put that thing
the suit
on.
Don't fit.
That'd be funny, man. You should take like a waist up movie of you trying to put this thing on.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we'll air that next week. So last year I went, though. I dressed up last year for the first time, Adrian.
Oh, yeah?
I was Wolverine.
Really?
Yep. So and it's funny, actually, we'll show it right here. We'll show you. We'll put it on the screen. Check this out, dude. This was before the Deadpool movie. Dude, we had this shit planned. Look. Me and my man.
Oh, that's not bad.
Some dude I ran into at Comic-Con. Here's what I didn't expect. So just so you know, Adrian, if you do go and you plan to dress up, I don't think you will. But
absolutely will not.
Here's what happens. You start walking around, and everyone starts coming up. Can we take a picture? Can we take a picture? It's weird. Yeah. It's like they act like you're actually Wolverine.
Even though there's like probably 30 Wolverines.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, they saw something in your Wolverine that was appealing, so.
I guess. Cool. Yeah, I pulled it off, dude. But,
and it's interesting. That picture is like a prediction of, what's happening now. It's like those two characters next to each other.
Yeah.
In the last photo that we looked at when we reviewed the Wolverine yellow suit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, whose yellow suit was better, mine or Hugh Jackman's?
You my boy, so I go with yours.
Okay. But if I wasn't here, what would you say?
I still go with yours.
Okay, got it.
Because they've kind of like neutered him, that character a little bit. I mean, I think they waited too long.
Yeah.
For this. And then everybody they trying to make all these tactical suits, and which I'm not a big fan of.
Right.
At some point it just becomes too much. I mean, just make your costume look like a rock and just call it a day.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what? Speaking of that, remember in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, my man Philion, right?
Yep.
Those people that he played.
Yes.
Maybe that was like a pun on the tactical suits. They were like so rocky and stupid, right?
Right.
Hey, could be.
Maybe. Yeah. And hey, that movie is out now. I think it hits Disney Plus in like a week or two.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'll have to check that out again.
Yeah.
Last thing, Adrian, I didn't even tell you I was going to bring this up, but one of the other things we saw at this Comic-Con was an actual trailer for the new Spider-Man game.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I know you're a gamer. You're not a huge gamer, but you're a gamer a little bit here and there. Right?
I'm not a gamer. I won't
Casual.
I won't bloody the name
okay
gamer by calling myself a gamer. No, I dabble. Ratchet and Clank. That's it. That's all I play.
Okay. Funny thing is the same company that made Ratchet and Clank, Insomniac Games, they made a couple Spider-Man games.
Okay.
You've not played these.
I have not.
So they made the original one for the PS4, and then they remastered it for the PS5, and then they made a Miles Morales version. So in there, in the PlayStation universe, Miles and Peter are both Spider-Man in the same universe.
Okay.
So in the first game, Peter meets Miles, and Miles gets bit by a spider later in the game.
Okay.
Right? So you control Miles on like some stealth missions and stuff like that, but Peter's Spider-Man.
Okay.
Then they came out with Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was a spin-off game, shorter game, but this is where Miles becomes Spider-Man.
Okay.
And Peter he's a sideline character, and then he leaves New York on vacation and leaves Miles in charge. So you play as Miles.
Okay.
Real cool, very different feel different powers or whatnot. Spider-Man 2 comes out in October, and there's a little tease at the end of the first Spider-Man game. Harry's in the game.
Spider-Man 2, the game?
Yes, the game. There's a little tease in Spider-Man 1 where Harry Osborn is in almost like this cryo sleep in water, and he's sick.
Okay.
Norman's trying to cure him. So similar to the comics, remember when Amazing Spider-Man, where his dad got sick with the goblin shit, and then Harry got the same thing. So something like that's going on, and then we also see the symbiote in the same tank.
Okay.
So that's probably why I'm wearing my Venom shirt today,
Nice,
dude, right?
nice.
So they allude to the fact that Norman's trying to use this symbiote to cure Harry, right? And then we learned that in Spider-Man 2 through the trailer, Venom's in this game. And I'm thinking that Harry is Venom, just based off of what we've seen so far. But then we also see in the trailer that Spider-Man, Peter, gets the black suit, and he becomes Black Spider-Man. And just like in the movie and in the comics, when he gets the symbiote, he starts acting a little brash, a little evil. Even Miles makes some comments like, what's up with Peter? So in this game, you're going to get to control Miles, Peter with the Venom powers, and possibly Venom. So everything, it looks amazing. I'm hyped for it. Again, I know you're not you're more of a casual, but we saw this trailer this past week. Looks amazing. I can't wait for it to come out.
So Spider-Man 1, the game, is out now.
Yeah, it's been out. Yep.
Oh, it's been out. So Spider-Man 2 in this Miles Morales version is coming out in October.
Yep. So, there's 2 games out already. There's the first Spider-Man, and there's the Miles Morales game.
Okay.
And then there's Spider-Man 2, where you're going to be able to control both Spider-Man characters, Miles and Peter. They have new powers in this. And the rumor is that you'll also be able to control Venom at some point. And we got to see the Venom character model. Looks amazing.
Okay. How does Miles and Peter meet in this universe?
They met through, I'm trying to go back, I think through Feast. So you remember in some of the comics, Aunt May runs like a food shelter or whatnot.
Yep.
I think Miles starts working there.
Okay.
And that's how they meet. And then they kind of hit it off. And Peter was supposed to kind of help out at Feast, but he's Spider-Man, right? So he kind of leave Miles in charge of certain things, and they start kind of bonding a little bit.
Okay.
And then MJ's also in the first game. And somehow she goes to Norman's apartment, finds this kind of secret lair, and he's got spiders and shit in there, of course, right?
Of course.
One of them gets in like her bag, and then eventually it transports from her bag, somehow gets around Miles. Miles gets bit.
Okay. That was going to be my next question. 2 radioactive spiders?
Yes. So they make you think that like MJ is going to get bit, but then eventually Miles does.
Which I think they're making her finally get some kind of powers at some point.
Really?
I heard, yeah.
In the comics?
Yeah, in the comics.
Yep. So Miles gets bit, and then, later in the game in like a cutscene, him and Peter are talking, and Miles like, I got to tell you something. And then he like jumps on the roof on the ceiling and sticks, and he's like, oh shit. Like, then he learns that he has powers. So he kind of agrees to kind of mentor, coach him or whatnot.
Got you. But why does Miles tell Peter that he's got this power? Does he already know that Peter is Spider-Man?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
At this point, he had learned that. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, I forget how, but he revealed it to him. But dude, really great games. I know you're not a big gamer, but hey, if you ever get that itch and want to put down Ratchet and Clank for a little bit, try it out, dude. It's fun. The swinging mechanics are amazing. The graphics are crazy. Yeah.
Well, your recommendation for Miss Marvel was good. Maybe I'll do a toe dip into.
Do a toe dip.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's the first Spider-Man, but for the PS5.
Yeah. So Spider-Man Remastered is what you're looking for.
Spider-Man Remastered. Got it.
Yep. And yeah.
Take a look.
Great game, dude. So we got that coming out in October. So do a lot of comic book stuff happening. Sure. We still got the strike going on. So I don't know, how much that's going to delay these movies, but we'll see. And again, one of the biggest pieces to that, what I've learned too this past week, are the royalties. So like right now, when you do a show, and then the show goes into syndication or whatnot, people continue to get paid, right? I mean, there's actors that get paid. I mean, dude, Will Smith's still making money from Fresh Prince syndication, right?
Sure.
So what I've heard is that on the streaming side, the royalties aren't there. They're much smaller, and that's another part of
for the actors or for the writers.
Both.
Why should the writers get royalties?
I mean, they wrote it, so it's their product still. It's continuing to get shown, still making money.
Okay. I'm just curious. I didn't know there was this deep dive, but it's like if studios have to pay out, I guess it's not the studios paying out. These people, I just see money going down throughout history, for like all of these people. It's like if Showtime adopts a movie, they got to pay the studio, they got to pay the actors, they got to pay the writers, they got to pay the butlers, the chauffeurs, I mean, at some point it's going to get ridiculous. However, I never knew that writers also got royalties. Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, there wouldn't be a movie without the writers, right? Right. Even though the actors is what you see. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, and when you think about it, when these shows get repeated on streaming, like right now, there's some stuff I've read where Disney Plus shows, like WandaVision, for example, is going to debut on Hulu, I believe. Huh. So believe it or not everyone has every damn service like us. Like, I don't know why I have them. I was going through them last night. I'm like, why do I have Paramount Plus? What's even on this? Right. Like, what is Peacock,
Dude, I started scrubbing stuff at some point. Look at your because a lot of stuff is going through Apple now. Yeah. Apple is like the payment processing superpower now. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of places, and I didn't even know this, switched over to Apple. So if you go and look at your Apple subscription, you can even do it on your phone, and it'll give you a list of all the stuff. So at some point, like a couple of months ago, dude, I just started scrubbing. I'm like, why the hell do I have this? Yeah. Like Paramount Plus and all this other kind of crap. So I just started dumping them.
Yeah. But so not everyone is an idiot like me and gets all of them. So people who don't have Disney Plus are going to get to see WandaVision on Hulu. But this is where, this is what the whole disagreement's about, right? So now it goes on Hulu. Hulu's making money, right? Because there's some people that are subscribed or are signing up to watch this or whatnot. Hulu's making money for having this on there. I'm sure they're paying Disney to use their show. But then the royalties that are not then passed to the actors and the writers. So that's where a lot of this dispute comes from.
I agree with that. I mean, not that they I agree that the actors and the writers, I guess in this case, should get paid whenever their stuff is syndicated. Because if you were to see, like Independence Day, speaking of Will Smith, I mean, he's going to get paid regardless of where it's shown.
Absolutely.
So I think that's fair.
Yeah. Why is it any different with streaming?
Exactly.
I mean, the company, that's where everyone's making their money now. Right. But it's just, dude, it's business. That's the problem with stuff like this. Like, for us, that you use these mediums as like an escape, right? Like, we work all week long. We got kids, fam, all this stuff, and do work around the house. And then, like, for a couple hours a week, you want to zone out. Right. But you almost forget that it's still a business.
Right. I think these lawyers sit back and they hide behind that using your likeness and blah 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 for what is it in perpetuity or forever. Yep. They can use your sound, your likeness, your not even just your image, but anything that looks like you or sounds like you forever. And I think that's unfair. I'm glad that this is happening. Because it should. It's just like the Dave Chappelle thing. That's why he left whatever he was when he was doing the Chappelle show, Comedy Central, because they were just like basically pimping his dude out. Yep. His shows, and he wasn't getting paid. He wasn't getting the credit for it. Right. So I think this is a great comeuppance. Just like the UFO stuff. I mean, we're going to see more of that.
Yeah. Hey, maybe if this this writer stuff doesn't stop, we'll just be entertained by the UFOs coming down, as you predicted.
That's it. I was actually watching Iron Man. I just flipped it on, early this morning. Iron Man 1.
Oh, okay.
And I saw Marvel Studios, right? And it was kind of like a tingling sensation, right? Because it's like I think Disney, moving away from like a Marvel Studios where you're like the speedboat, right? You're small, you're nimble, you can make adjustments, blah, blah, blah. And you went to this big, aircraft carrier behemoth of a Disney, and you just get thrown into a compartment with all the other stuff, in this big space. And I just, it was kind of nostalgic. Yeah. It was a moment for me, Marvel Studios, and I just think it was a bad move to move all this stuff to Disney.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I partly agree. I think it has its ups and downs, right? Like we wouldn't have this level of content, I don't think, without Disney. And the budgets on some of these movies, like the Infinity War and the Endgame, who knows if that would have happened. But to your point, now they're in charge, though, right? Now it all has to run through Disney.
And they're cutting budgets. I mean, they're probably they're making these moves to try to cut out the writers and the actors on the streaming platform. Maybe that would have happened anyway, but maybe not. So Disney can throw a bunch of money at stuff, but there's also this opposite effect happening. That's not a good thing. So. Yeah.
So Iron Man 1, man, I love that movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen, I think the last time I watched it was maybe a year ago. And what's crazy is there was a point where I hadn't seen it in years. And then I think me and my son, we were doing a rewatch before like Endgame or one of those big movies came out. And it's so crazy to see how different that movie is compared to all the other ones. Right. Like, I mean, Tony Stark is like banging models and shit in this movie. Right. We've not seen that in any other. I mean, the only other like Marvel, it wasn't even a movie. It was a show that we've seen like sex in with She-Hulk. Right. Remember that? That was a big deal. Oh my gosh! Like, dude, we've seen it back in Iron Man 1. Right. Right. And it was so like unrefined, right? Like they didn't have this Marvel formula yet. It's like Iron Man's like this gem in all these movies. Like I don't think it's not my favorite MCU movie, but it's just one that, like you said, nostalgic, has kind of a special place. Yeah,
it's iconic. And I think that's also one of those negatives when it moved over to Disney. And I'm not sure even if Disney. When did Iron Man come out? 08? Yeah. 08. So and Disney bought Marvel in 09. Okay. So, but that's true to the life of that character, and that's kind of one of those things where they kind of like muddle it down a little bit, water it down a little bit, because the Disney values and stuff. So, but I mean, comics for the most part, DC, Marvel, they're pretty savage. Yes. Some of these characters, they're pretty savage, and you're gonna see it come out like and even like the regular people. Like the spies in the background. Yeah. These people are savage.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's why I one of the reasons I love the Matt Reeves Batman movie so much is it's savage. Right. Batman, I mean,
Batman is savage.
Yeah. That's how he should be. Right. He's crippling these these villains. I mean, when the I Am Vengeance scene in the subway, like, dude, my man's just like, oh, you guys are picking on people. I'm gonna come down here and beat the shit out of all of you guys.
Right. Have you seen the Sons of Batman and Superman? Have you seen that? It's a cartoon.
No, it's a newer one, right? Right. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen it on Max.
And he's pretty sad. And it's like when Superman's son find out that his dad is Superman. Yeah. And he goes to introduce him to Batman or show him Batman, and Batman's kicking somebody's ass. Yeah. And so he's got like his son on his shoulders or something, and they're watching Batman interrogate this dude on the roof. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh my God! I mean, you're gonna let him?" And Superman is just smiling, like he's looking at his son play football or something. He's like, that's just the way he is. Yeah, yeah. But Batman, he's savage. Oh, and Superman has learned to just stay out of his way.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Someone disagreed with you. So you remember last week you said that you were talking about Gotham, and you said Superman needs Batman's permission to even show up to Gotham. Some dude online was like, "Oh, Superman doesn't need Batman's permission for anything," or something like that. Like,
he does.
He does. Batman. You're right. He controls Gotham.
He does. He absolutely does. He doesn't need Batman's permission to show up. He needs Batman's permission to operate. Right. Don't come to my town and try to solve a problem without me knowing about it. You can come as Clark Kent. You can have lunch. You can do whatever you want to do. Yep. But outside of that once you put super in front of your activity, you better let me know about it.
Yep. You mentioned Daredevil earlier, and I said to you a few weeks ago, I'm watching it. Dude, I'm loving the hell out of this show. Yeah. Yes, it is. I remember earlier when we were talking, you said that was one of your favorites.
Yep.
But I think it'll be up there when I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch them in like timeline order. So I'm gonna go Daredevil season 1, then Jessica Jones season 1, then Luke Cage. Gotcha. I'm kind of like contemplating skipping Iron Fist because all I've heard was bad stuff about it.
It's not bad. It's kind of like, so like we're watching this show, this Nick Fury thing. So in my score is like a 5.5.
Yeah.
I would put Iron Fist at like maybe a 6.5.
Okay.
So it's not as bad.
It's just not as good as
but it's also, I think it's not critical, but it's nice information if you watch Defenders.
Okay.
So
and I plan on watching Defenders.
Have you seen you haven't started watching Jessica Jones yet, have you?
No, I'm about halfway through Daredevil.
That jig is off the chain, dude.
Okay. And I heard Luke Cage is badass too in this.
Yeah. He is. I mean, they get down.
Yeah.
Literally.
So you've seen The Boys, right?
Yes.
Did you hear about Gen V, the spin-off show that's dropping later this year?
I did not. I mean, I'm sitting here patiently waiting for, the next Boys to come out. Yeah.
So that season 4, I think it comes out next year, but Gen V. So what this is I mean, The Boys obviously is a parody almost of Justice League, right? So the Gen V is going to be a parody of X-Men in a way. They're college-age students in a school. These are the first generation of people that know they are receiving this drug to have a superpower. Because remember we learned in season 3, I think it was, that none of these supers were born supers.
Right.
They got this, formula, whatever it is, the V shit, I forget what it's called.
Right.
But they're taking that to become superheroes. Mm. So,
and just like most government things, that's been around for a while in the show. I mean, I think they were back in like Vietnam or something when they first started experimenting on people, because the dude that walks around in the black outfit,
Soldier Boy.
Yeah, he's like from like World War II or something, right?
Who I love, dude. He is a psycho. So anyway, this show Gen V, now that news is out that people aren't born with powers, they're given. This is the first generation of kids that know they've been given the powers. And they say it's just as twisted as The Boys. So it's college-age kids, basically like Xavier Institute school, special school for them. And we get to kind of see them, and it takes place in the same world. It's a little bit of a spinoff. So that comes out later this year.
Nice.
That'll be an interesting one to review here.
Yeah. I'm down. I'm down for that.
We'll
those dark movies where it's like, oh,
yeah,
really? Because they're throwing so much now into these shows. It's hard to get kind of like surprised.
Yeah,
so it's good to see when things come out like that.
Right. Shit, that first episode, man. When I didn't know what to expect with The Boys. I never read the comics.
Me either.
And then I put the first episode on, and I was kind of, it was starting. I was like half into it, and then the scene where A-Train runs through the chick.
Oh my god!
I was like. Dude, I was just sitting here like, wait, hold on. Did that just happen?
Right.
I had to rewind it. And then after that I was hooked. But so Gen V later this year. Well, that's it for this week's show, Adrian. We will be back here next week. Again, we're going to review Secret Invasion, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and who knows who will be we got to come up with a better name, but this week we use Jackass of the Week. Who's going to be our Jackass next week? Who knows?
All right. If you're watching, if you can come up with something. So what we're trying to do is we have these people, real people, not comic book people, and they make these moves, and they're just kind of ridiculous. If you've ever heard the radio station out of Miami, 99.1, I think it is, Charlemagne the God, if you can do that reference, they have a Donkey of the Week.
Right. And
they select somebody from news that just do something just pretty much stupid.
Right.
So we're trying to come up with a name for that's that means kind of the same thing, but obviously we don't want to
we don't want to steal Donkey of the Week.
Right.
No.
So if you got some suggestions, let us know.
Right. And we went with, for this episode, we said Jackass because it's
but we're not using Jackass though.
No, we need something better. And who knows who will be that individual next week? I mean, Andy Muschietti's back at it. He took a week off last week because Bob Iger was saying dumb shit about the Disney movies, but. Who knows, dude?
Who knows?
As you said last week, another clown will step up.
Yep.
So, well, that is it for Only Comics this week. Like you said, Adrian, we got the goods. We got a bunch of predictions. We will find out next week if my hidden streak is broken. I'm on a 25-game hidden streak, Adrian.
Well, it kind of doesn't matter because overall, the streaks have been good.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we'll be good either way.
I would definitely be good either way, but it's just me, I don't know. Do we take a week off from being right? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. We'll find out next week. But, hey, thanks for joining me, Adrian, as always.
Always, baby.
And we will be back at you next week. Guys, thanks for watching, downloading, and let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you not? Sound off. We don't care. I actually love hearing the opinions.
Right.
So we'll see you next week on Only Comics.
See you.